is a 6.7k Bane support game. So I think you were the one that might have emailed me. Okay.
10 seconds. 5 seconds.
So I'm watching a Reach game. And this is a 6.7k Bane. So we're just kind of like fast forwarding through the draft here. So, needless to say, this is a pretty dog shit Bane game. When the enemy team first picks Oracle, honestly, I just prefer to pick supports that don't just get completely owned by Oracle. I personally think Bane gets owned by Oracle. You don't lane against it, and so meaning like the lane matchup's pretty negligible, and then your long cooldown, long duration ultimate is just completely removed by his. So I personally would not pick Bane against Oracle. I think that's a first step. Generally, when I look at enemy supports, I just think, like if I'm a support early picking, or if I'm an offlane player early picking, I just pick like what's conceptually scales well against what they have. So like if they have Oracle as a save, you know, you could pick a low cooldown stun, something like a Lion, or something like even like Disruptor that can't be purged. Or you can pick like Rubik, you can pick Wyvern like your teammate did pick, Lich, just stuff that's not like... I understand Oracle removes all stuns, right? But there's just heroes that rely way more on their stuns than others. So I personally don't like the Bane pick, but, you know, that's enough of that. It is very important, in my opinion, to pick heroes that are good against the one hero you see, because obviously you're going to get countered by the rest of their heroes. Like, they have Legion, Clockwork's pretty decent against you. You do nothing to PL. So it's like, because you didn't pick against a good hero against what you saw first, you now have a game which, in my opinion, is very hard. So you are obviously lane supporting a Razor. It is a pretty broken combo, Nightmare into Link. I definitely would not have leveled my Brain Sap in this lane specifically because you have a Razor. I think Static Link plus Nightmare is just completely broken unless they fixed it. As far as I know, you can attack people during Nightmare with a Razor and it doesn't wake them up while you're linking them, I mean. So I would have strongly considered leveling your Nightmare here. Some lanes, it's all about attrition, and some lanes, it's like you just have a trump card, they can't fight you spell combo. And I think in this lane specifically, I would have considered leveling Nightmare. So I just don't like that you leveled Brain Sap before you even used it. I think that's a big problem. Like right here, I would have even been fine if you leveled Brain Sap. But you leveled it before you even used it. So that's the problem I had. Like, what if there was a situation where the Razor was linking and he almost gets away on clock and you can Nightmare him, you know? Okay. When I have a Razor Court, he has no way of securing the range. So when I see this, I would have just Brain Sapped this range creep. I think it's really important. I think it's really important as a support. One of the most important lane mechanics is considering whether or not your core can secure range against the matchup they're in. It's really important to think about it. It's like, if I'm... Let me think. If I'm... What's a hero that can easily secure range? You know, I'm a PA, or I'm a PL with Lance, or a Sven with Stun. It's like, yeah, don't feel the need to use your nukes on that range creep. But even on Bane with Brain Sap, I would use the 100 damage nuke to secure this range, because him getting that deny is a really big deal. So just something to consider every lane you go into. So he blocked in front, and now you see them cutting. So it's time to see what reaction you do, or what you do in reaction to this. So you decide to zone the Legion as your Razor gets solo XP. Good job denying the pull.
My name is, by the way, pronounced Rock, or you can continue calling me Spark IDC Game ID.
So you stack
5,256,196,989 Hero, Templar, Assassin, MMR, Legend 53,700.
Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna rewind a bit here. So you see your carry under tower, you're harassing them both. This is fine. You blocked, you stopped them from pulling. You stacked the camp. At this point, I think it's really important that you put your player perspective on the lane, like right now. Like, yeah, you're looking at the lane, but I want to see exactly what's going on. I would have looked even closer. Like, what's the lane doing? It looks like, I mean, I think you're good to pull here. But in this case, I probably would just pull and then ditch it, because it's going to deny your entire wave. Yes, good. I'd run at the Legion here. Okay, you're doing that. You kind of let him juke you, though. I think he ended up getting more CS for it.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
To a future of grief.
Radiant's courier has been killed. Radiant structures are fortified.
No gold for you. What could be gold?
Dire's courier has Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Okay.
Dire's top tower is under Radiant's middle tower.
Get D ward. I don't mind that ward either. Okay.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower.
Other than what I've said, nothing too crazy so far. I think overall you're obviously a pretty high MMR player, so your supporting's been pretty decent. I think the fine things in lane that define like a little bit of experience gain here and there that I've harped on are a big deal for people in your bracket. Otherwise, your laning mechanics are usually pretty good. Okay, so you rotated away from the Razor with Clockwork. That's fine. I would say as long as Clockwork's showing, you're fine to leave bottom. Razor's the type of hero that if he's 1v1, he's just like fucking him up. But if he's like threatened to die 2v1, he's not that great. So I would definitely be careful about rotating like that before you see the Clockwork. But like the minute Clockwork shows, you're fine to leave your Razor alone. I just consider that when you're rotating. Just thinking about what kind of time your carry wants you to stay, when they want you to come back, what situation they're content with you not being there in, meaning like if it's 1v1, if it's 2v1, what are they content with? Some heroes don't mind having 2v1 because they can just like jungle and rotate the lane, like PL for instance, but like Razor wants to dominate the lane, so he wants you to be with him. This is a pretty good rotation, good pressure. Playing around your playmaker. Okay. The world may never know what he was doing. So you're going pretty greedy for these mana boots. I'm not 100% sure how Bane works. How important these mana boots are to get this early. You know, I'm like a huge fan of going like, you know, Tranquils and a bunch of Clarities. But against PL, I think mana boots are pretty strong just because he burns all the mana of your teammates. Good pressure on mid lane, but you are still level 5. Okay. You do get level 6. Let's play normal speed here. It's a good grip when Legion's dueling. Oracle just got here. Okay, so you guys are up by 4k. You have a pretty sizable lead. You're against PL though, other than Leshrac. I guess Void Spirit's okay, but it is a pretty damn good PL game as the game goes on. Right now, you guys are kind of meant to be ahead. So you're going 4 staff. I'm a huge advocate of Windlace. I don't know how other supports feel about it, but I would have 100% had a Windlace this game. You just spend so much time on a support running around the map. I like to do it faster and better. So you're securing this tower, now you're rotating to bottom. It's a little bit awkward before you have grip. You also have like no D-warding potential. This game's a little chaotic, but I'm just gonna keep fast forwarding because I feel like the game's chaos is out of your control. So you actually smoke up right back towards mid. Good grip target, obviously, because Legion's the one that can purge and Oracle's dead. You guys are playing pretty fast-paced Dota. I mean, I know it's like semi-organized because it's Reach, but this is good pace. You guys do need to keep this going. I'm like thinking, I don't know if Force Staff's the item because it's like, yeah, your cores kind of died a clock, but most of your cores, your Void Spirit gets out of cogs, and your Leshrac Razor kind of just fuck up the clockwork if he goes on them. Okay, I mean, so far I'm really liking what I see. I'm assuming I'm just going to see some big throw if you give me this game. Maybe it's a win. I didn't even check the results. I think your overall warding's pretty decent.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
You've been completely active on the map. Other than what I said in lane, I think your lane supporting was pretty good. I mean, I hope I find something really bad because I don't want to, you know, do your replay analysis and just not have anything to say. Definitely want to check the high ground with my courier there. I think that's pretty important. I feel like I would have prioritized a Glimmer Cape. So this is what I want to talk about with your cores. First off, you have a Void Spirit. He can get out of cogs and everything without the Force Staff. But secondly, you have two cores that kind of want to stand their ground. You have Razor and you have
needs to play Clinks if he wants to improve.
Leshrac. These aren't heroes that want to be disengaged from the fight. They want to be protected as they man up on people. I think that's a big thing to recognize with your cores. Like, I know I'm like, it may sound like I'm like reaching for something to flame, but I really, like, I see this Force Staff and I see that you're against clock and I can understand, like, yeah, that's why you're thinking about it. I just don't like this first item Force Staff because if I'm a Razor, I don't want you to Force Staff me out. I want to be, like, glimmered and medallioned and Vlads and piped and just man the fuck up on people. I have no desire to be, like, Force Staffed away from them and then, you know, re-engage the fight. That's not how, like, Razor operates, you know. If you have you know, something more like a Ricky or a Troll or something, you know, these heroes that get Force-Staffed away and then re-engage. Maybe a Lifestealer can get Force-Staffed away. But, like, as heroes like Razor, you don't want to get Force-Staffed. So, I just don't like the Force-Staff. I'm just going to say that right now. I'll see how it plays out. Overall, I mean, it seems like a pretty easy game in terms of, like, you are just running at them constantly. And when you're ahead on supports like Bane, it is very, very straightforward, in my opinion. The way, like, and you clearly can tell, like, you are just running at them. Just fighting over and over again. Let me rewind to the setup of this. So you guys are showing bottom and you're securing the tower and your Razor just makes a move with the Void Spirit top. I don't really have much else to say about this. This isn't really your fault, but for the sake of education, like, this is just a really bad play. When you and Leshrac show here, all that means is, like, the rest of the map, the opponent, if they're not stupid, can make a play. So if you're a support, type of communication you can give is, like, me and Leshrac showing bottom, like, be careful top. Because, like, decent players will just see two heroes here, and they'll see two heroes here, and they'll take their pick of the lot on which ones they would rather kill or that they think are easier to kill. In this case, like, they just see your two heroes bottom and they see these two heroes top. So as a support, this is the kind of thing you can dictate and you can try your best, especially in, like, Reach games that are a bit more organized. But this is just trash. Like, this is NA Dota at its finest. Like, for you two to be showing bottom and your two heroes to be making an aggressive move at this tier 2 is just trash. Like, that's just garbage. So, like, whether or not that's your fault, that's not what I'm arguing. But it is something as a support that you can communicate. Instead, it kind of forces all of you to, like, flee to the top lane, which I think your reaction is good. But it's just super awkward, man, when fights like this occur, because the opponent just outnumbers you, because you have two heroes that were showing bottom. They have 5 heroes that are able to get to the top lane. And if you lose this game, this is the start of the throw, for sure. So, nice Winner's Curse. So it's like you guys are up by 10k, so you do end up winning, quote-unquote, the fight or whatever. But I think giving them any type of window like that's really bad. I don't, you know, how much of that's your fault? You know, that's up for debate. So I'd say your next objective, your major objective is Roche. You have no reason to play around bottom anymore. So I think it's a big deal that you, you know, get. It looks like you're already on the same page, but you get as much vision on the top half of the map as possible. And you kind of just control this area. No one on your team other than maybe Void Spirit, unless Leshrac has bots. He does. So maybe Leshrac can go bottom. So to me, this kind of makes no sense. Let me see how this plays out. Okay, Leshrac does TP. Oh, you TP bottom. Okay, this is good. This is a really good setup play by you. Okay. You guys took the tower. They're not contesting anymore. That was a really good play. I felt like it was awkward that you were giving them anything in the bottom half of the map, so you shut that down real quick, and I like that play a lot.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So I do have a major problem with the Force Staff. I've already talked about it. So when you're ahead like this, it's all about, like, how do we transition to the next step of the game? And I just don't think Force Staff actually changes anything. If you get hooked on and you have a Force, like, that's a nice luxury. But I also think if you just have, like, a Glimmer or a Vlad's, like, Vlad's helps you secure Roche. Glimmer, I think, is just a better item for the cores you have. So both of those have, like, intent to them. I think Force Staff kind of just saves your ass. And when you're up by this much as a 5 position, I don't think you need to think about, like, saving your own ass. It comes down to more just playing better. Like, meaning, you know, don't get in a position where Clockwork can hook you and then have 2 people following up. You know, that just don't be out of position rather than building an item that saves you when you get out of position. So far, my only major complaint's the Force Staff. I mean, that is a big deal to itemize them properly, but... Okay. Okay. Fast forwarding a bit here. What are your teammates' items? Orchid... Kaya going Bloodstone, going BKB. He's going Orchid as well. Some weird shit going on here. 2 people with Boots of Travel. Very NA pub-like. So none of you really itemized in the game. You're up by 16,000 net worth, but like at least 8k of that is in like efficiency kill items, which don't really do anything when the opponent's just in their base. That shit's more like 14k because it's 2 Orchids. I don't particularly mind your Wyvern getting an Orchid, but if your Wyvern's going to get one, your Void Spirit definitely should not. The problem I see with your lineup so far is once PL gets like Manta Heart, I don't see how you deal with him. Or Manta Abyssal. I don't see what you guys are doing to deal with him. Like, I think Void Spirit could have even considered like a Radiance. I mean, this is the standard 5 position stuff at 25 minutes. Kind of just walk around the part of the map you want to play on. You guys are playing 3 separate parts of the map. Your Leshrac manages to narrowly get away, but I'll just rewind for the sake of telling you what you can captain as a support, because it feels like with your gameplay at this stage, there's not much you can do. So the problem I have right now is that your Razor's bottom. I think your whole team needs to be playing on their side of the map, or at least within range of their side of the map. What happens if you have one hero that isn't playing with the team? If you're not able to be 5, like if you're not potentially able to group up as 5, then anytime the opponent finds you, you have to run, right? Like you have to like surrender the position you're in. So I don't mean to like flame Bloody 9, but like you guys have 2 Boots of Travels heroes. So you guys should always be able to group up as 5. And they should never really be able to run at you with 5 and have your reason for not fighting them be that you don't have 5 heroes. Like, maybe you don't want to fight them because, like, you don't want to give them the fight that they're looking for. But the reason you shouldn't be, or like, the reason you're not fighting them should not be because you can't all be there. So to be blunt, like, this Razor being bottom is like some hot trash. Like, you guys have 2 heroes with bots that could easily be farming this and TP to the team. You guys should be playing around Razor while either Void Spirit or Leshrac is like playing efficiently here, if anybody is on your team playing that part of the map. So as a support, especially if you're playing these organized leagues, you know, you can say stuff like, hey, our next objective's Roche, look to play around Roche, like establish control here. You know, like stuff like Moon was saying in my last game, if you were watching, it has an impact to say, you know, hey guys, look for this objective, look to play around this, like don't play here. That kind of stuff. If your team's on the similar page about where to play on the map, it does prevent this kind of stuff. Yes, it can be like up to individuals to just not do it, but a lot of players have a really hard time from the core position to understand how it impacts you as a support. So like right now, because your Razor's bottom, as a support, I feel useless. Like I just feel like I can't do anything. I feel like if they walk at me, what do? I run away. And anytime my core is doing something that makes me feel useless as a support, I try to tell them. I try to communicate that the fact that the way they're positioning themselves on the map is hurting me. And sometimes they just don't listen. Sometimes, you know, they even mute you or something. But I think it's really important. Like this right now, this map orientation when you're ahead is like really bad. Like when you're ahead, you want the opponent to have no plays. And right now, if they go on your Leshrac, your team's going to scramble to help them. If they go on U3, you have to run away. And if they go on Razor, he's probably dead. So it's like, instead of giving them absolutely no plays, you kind of give them 3 plays by playing 3 different parts of the map. If this is like a Leshrac farming efficiently through your jungle, Razors with the 2 supports, and Void Spirits like aggressively farming their jungle, yeah, maybe you could all be separated, but if they go on you mid, Void Spirit TP, or like Leshrac TPs immediately, Void Spirit runs there, you're all there within 2 seconds. And then that's when they don't have plays. So then when they're all missing and they're not showing in base, and they only have, like, if you're like this, and I told in the orientation that I told you, the Void Spirit who's right here would probably run to you guys, and the Leshrac's ready to TP, right? And so like you're instantly ready to counter whatever they're doing. But right now, if they go on anybody here, it doesn't feel good at all. And a lot of times as a support, I like to ask myself in these types of situations, like, what could the opponent do, and what would be our response if they did it? And right now, that's what I say by it feels garbage, because if they go on Lesh, you scramble to help him, he might die anyway. If they go on Razor, he's probably dead. And if they go on U3, at the best case scenario, you're just running away. And when you're this far ahead with like map control and ward control, you should never be forced to run away from the opponent like that, just unless like, you know, they have super hard heavy 5-man and you just let them 5-man and like, you know, run away from it. But this is definitely just bad map orientation. As a support, it's something to think about, how you can communicate that kind of thing. You guys are just giving them an opening, and if they do manage to find it, I would like the opponent to have to like outplay you rather than just abuse your mistakes. So you're grouped up as 4, but you still don't have your non-Boots of Travel hero. You just have a hero. You have 2 heroes with bots, and the one that doesn't have bots is not with you guys. I mean, this is, I don't know if Bloody 9's like tilted or something, but this is just bad. You guys do see them on the map, but they see you, and this is like very sloppy. You guys do end up getting Roche, so the right objective is taken, but it is taken very exploitful. It's taken in a way that could be exploited if the opponent was better. And you don't make it to like 8k by playing in a way that the opponent would punish if they were better. So you go for the grip.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Let me rewind here a bit. How did this all come to be? You guys are hunting, trying to take over the map. You have no wards now.
Radiant's bottom tower is
You
under
see PL
Radiant's
bottom.
structures are fortified.
I personally don't like this play at all, even if it works. I think this is just really sloppy. I think you guys either run at their base as 5 and force them to come back. In which case, if you force them to come back, you then have like Leshrac TP scroll the bottom, push it out. And he like TP's bottom, pushes it out, and then you guys like now have map control. But instead, you're like doing 2 different things at once. 2 players are pushing high ground, 3 people are responding to this. This is the type of play that if you don't immediately smoke out a Roche, it's just super awkward. Because you guys, once again, you're making a play where not all 5 of you can be there. And you don't actually know where the opponent is. They could have all 5 heroes be bottom, theoretically, right? Like, you don't know where they are. So what if you guys just TP in 1 by 1 and they have all 5 heroes here? Like, what if they're making the play that, like, good players would make where they're like, hey, guys, like, if they go on us here, we just kill them all, you know? And you guys, like, stream in 1 by 1. This is a situation where your choices are to brute force them out of here by, like, smoking into them, or to force them back to base indirectly. You know, like, you push the base, force them to come back, and then you TP somebody here and push it out. Those are, like, your 2 choices. And the big problem with your lineup right now is nobody on your team built to go high ground. Like, nobody. So it's like not really a surprise that you're having struggles ending the game. If you guys just have, like, I'm not saying it's your fault. If you guys just have, like, 1 or 2 aura items and, like, a glimmer, you guys could easily just push high ground with Lesh. But you guys have all kill items, like, no utility, nothing. So it's, like, really hard for you to push into the opponent. And then you're just making these 2 sloppy plays. So I really don't like this. I just really like plays where you can have all 5 heroes if the opponent potentially has all 5 heroes there. Like, if they're proving to you that they're separated, sure, by any means, like, make a play 3-on-3. But, like, they haven't proven anything to you. They could have all 5 been here, and you kind of just blindly decided to take this. Even if it's not your call, like, these are the type of things you can look back on and learn from. I mean, this is just super awkward, man. So PL does go down.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Like, what do these kills actually accomplish? To be honest with you. At this point, it looks like you guys have won the game. Are they done? Okay. So, it was a pretty stompy game. I think your laning stage was overall pretty good. You did a lot of things right. You know, you stopped the pull when they were trying to pull the big camp into it. You followed them around and harassed them. You let your carry get solo XP as much as possible. I already talked about the range creep. That was really important. That you consider that every lane. I don't think it should get denied, at least without you guys giving the full effort of making sure it doesn't get denied. I talked about the level 1 skilling. I talked about what else was I talking about? Oh, I talked about your force staff. But honestly, for the most part, it's stuff that you can learn as a support when it comes to map orientation. Like, when you guys are ahead, I feel like in NA, the enemy team's usually not very good at, like, figuring out a way to come back. But the best thing you can do when you're ahead is just figure out, you know, what's the opponent's play. You know, who are they going to try to kill to make a comeback in this game? And, like, how do we end this game? The reason why I said the force staff is because, like, eventually you guys have to be able to walk at them. And I think that's your problem in this lineup, is, like, your Leshrac and your Razor's ability to just stand their ground. I think that's, like, what I would deem the issue of these 2 cores in this specific game. So I would have built items that helped them stand their ground. But overall, I mean,
I don't mean to say like too little about this replay, but from the support position past like the 20-minute mark, it's really only your job to tell your team what page we're all on. And at the very least, you can say like, hey guys, like let's look to do Roche. And just get everyone on the idea that if they're going to take an objective, it's Roche. And there were just like 4 or 5 times this game where your team wasn't able to be as 5 and like chaos ensued. If you notice that every time I told you that you weren't S5, potentially, that was when some sort of chaos ensued. You were far enough ahead that it didn't actually cost you the game, and nobody died. But those are the situations where you lose, when you're like up by 5,000 and like 1 or 2 crucial kills loses you the game. So it's really important, I think, as a support that you try your best to dictate that. But other than that, man, I actually think you played pretty well. The warding game was pretty decent. You set up that kill bottom, which was really good. Your hero was like not supposed to be impactful in this game, and you went 5-1 and 20. So obviously it was a good game for you. But those little things, all I can say is if it's a closer game, man, it's going to add up. And like better players will just make those plays better. I honestly think reach is like good practice for somebody that's like 6,700. But at the same time, like you're just not going to get the best of the best in this league. Like you're not going to get the top 50, 25 players playing. Like it just doesn't help them. So eventually, I would highly recommend maybe even party queuing with, somebody that's like 7.5 or something, top 100. Because these are the type of things where if I'm telling you how to play the map and control things, it can really only work for you as a support if you have at least one core that's listening to you. So if you want to practice the things I talked about, where it comes down to like how you guys are playing the map and stuff, it really does help if you have one player on your team that you're actively communicating with. So, hope you enjoyed that replay analysis. If I didn't say enough, I apologize, but that's all I saw from that game. So.